Okay guys, I'm really not in the business of making tutorials, so this is going to be a mess. Sorry about that, but hopefully all the info will be there. Alright, so I'm going to start with the open stage control part of it, and then after that I'll explain the Unreal Engine part of it. Obviously you need to install the plugin, the OSC plugin in Unreal Engine to get this to actually work, to do anything over there. The open stage control app itself is in two parts. This is like the server window where you do the main settings, and then if you click on play, that opens up the actual interface window, which you can, it's blank. If you do Control E, no wait, hang on. You have to. Well, I'll come back to this in a second. I'll start at the beginning. In this window, there's only a couple of things you need to worry about. All this stuff, I don't know, haven't used it. The main thing is up here, you've got your IP address. This is the IP address that your messages are going to be sent out to. Okay, it doesn't necessarily even have to be this computer. You could be sending only messages out to another computer, another IP address. Okay, but in this case, this is my IP address of this computer, and then you choose a port, whatever. Okay, you can put more IP addresses in here. You just put a space. Let's just copy this. You put it in. You put a space, and then you put another one. Now, in the context of nDisplay, you might want to have your other node, because I've got like another PC, which is my node. So that's a different IP address. So in my case, that's 90. Okay. There's another thing you might want to do, which is you put another space, put another IP, and we're going to put this one to 9000. Okay. The reason for that, I'll explain in a minute. Over here, we have the load. Okay, at the moment it's empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press play. Going to go up here, session, new session. Okay, and let's just save it as well. So session, oops, that was wrong. Cancel. Session, save as demo. Goes into users. Okay, we can close that. Now we can go back here and we can load in. Wait, if press stop. Now we can load in that what I just created, which was demo. Okay, so now when we press play here, it's going to load up that session that it's going to be sending to these IP addresses. Okay. So now at the moment we've got like a blank interface. If we do Control E, we get into the editor, and now we can create. We've got a lot of stuff here. We've got buttons, just a lot of stuff. I'm going to do a fader. Now the way it works is that it will always render this window on your tablet, iPhone, computer, whatever, from the top left. So you really want to kind of position stuff like on an iPhone. You'd want to have it really up here. Okay. Let's get this over on the side. Okay, the reason I added this third IP address here, 9000, was because there's a handy app. This one called, let's do clear, called, what is it, Protocol. Here, this one has got a port of 9000. So now hopefully, if I put this one over here and do something, yep, because I'm here sending out also on port 9000. This is getting, it's monitoring. It's showing me what I'm sending out from the app. It's worth noting that it's not showing you what you're sending out on these ones, okay, which you might also want to see. So in that case, what you do is you go over here, debug, let's stop it. You go over here, you do debug, true. And now if I run it, you'll see that's showing everything, all messages that have been sending out, it's showing them. You may want that sometimes, but the protocol, sorry, not that one. Where was it? I closed it. Protocol. This is a bit nicer formatted. It's a bit easy to read. So I've been using this mostly. But when I wanted to check everything that was being sent out, then I come over to this debug mode. I don't know how to clear this, so I'm just going to close out and then restart. So now we're all set. Let me just check my notes because otherwise I'll just forget something. Debug mode presets. Oh yeah, one other thing to explain, let's run it again, is that if I move my fader, debug, stop, turn this off, let's just restart it again. And hopefully now we don't get the debug. Okay, that's better. No debug info. One thing to mention is that these are the IP addresses where the message is being sent to. Down here, we see this address here is the address that you need to access this interface on another device on your network. So be it a laptop, be it an iPad, a tablet, an iPhone. If you type in this address to a browser, Safari, Chrome, whatever, then you will see this. Okay, obviously, it's an iPhone. It'll be this big. That's why you need to have it up in the top left. So that is the address that you need to access, which has got actually nothing to do with this. So these could be totally different. So you could be sending out your messages to totally other IP addresses, and you control it by going to this IP address here. So that's what I want to say about that. Okay. All right, I'd already explained about Control E to get you in and out of edit mode. All right, so we've created a really simple, let's just go back into edit mode, created a really simple interface here. Up here we have session, and we can do save, or we can do save as to make it a new one. That saves the whole state of this, not state, it saves the structure. So if you create buttons, you create sliders, it will save everything. There's another menu option here, which is state, and that's different. That's going to save, that's not going to change the structure. It's kind of obvious. It'll save the state. So you could have 15 faders all on a certain setting. If you want to keep that setting, then you can save the state. You can also send. So then you send the state to all the devices on your network which are running this interface. Okay, so I think I already showed it, but to create a slider, it's just a right click, and then you can add, there's a lot of stuff, faders, knobs, buttons, all kinds of stuff. Okay, but what we're kind of interested in now is in the OSC part of it. So we're going to go over here, OSC. All right. Now, this is kind of important, but if I go over here, if I let's just stop it for a sec. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to delete this all. So now we're back to just my the computer I'm actually making this video on, which is this IP, and then I'm using this port. I'm going to copy that. Going to go, where is it? Play. Edit. Okay, I've got one fader here. If I go over here and I put in here a different IP, so this is my nodes, my other PC, and if I do ignore defaults on true, basically this fader now is only sending to this IP address and this port, not this one. Okay, I could have 20 faders and I wouldn't have to set anything for them, and they would all send to this IP. And this is the 21st fader, and here I've put something. So this one will only send to this one. Okay, or if I turn true off, it will send to this one and to this one. Okay. Now up here, this is an important field. This is where you set the address. The address is kind of hard to explain, but it's just like an identifier. So I'm going to put in here A, B. Okay, and you'll see why I'm putting that in there in a minute. The other thing you can put, I'm not sure, to be honest, I'm not sure if it matters, but on one video I saw that the guy put in F for float here, but I think it sends a float anyway. It doesn't matter if you put in, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Okay. So yeah, that's that. The other thing which you're going to need, I'm not going to show it now, but a lot of the tricks that you need to do in this app are done over here in the value and then script. You can put a lot of things in here to change the behavior. For instance, you can have a button which will save this value and another button which will send that saved value to the fader, and that's all done in here. So just so you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a Google Doc where, because I'm asking a lot of questions on the forum to the guy, the developer, and he's telling me how to do stuff. And for myself, I'm just making like a notes of all the answers, and I'll put them in a Google Doc, and I'll link to that in the description of this video on YouTube. All right, that's that. Yeah, so this video I'm going to put it on YouTube. I'm not going to make it public. I'll keep it unlisted, but you're welcome to share it with anybody else who you think might need it or whatever, or might find it useful. I think that's pretty much it from this side of it. It's going to be time to go into Unreal. Let's see, where are we? Okay, right, let's start over here. Okay, so obviously we've got the OSC plugin. Let's just check if I'm still recording. It's always nice to know. Yep. Back in we're in Unreal now, and I'm going to show how the OSC works in the blueprint. Okay, so we have our event tick to start off. Over here, we've got this is what brings the OSC messages into the blueprint, the OSC server. Okay, let's have a look at this. We'll notice that let's bring this up as a float. We'll notice that here I've got my IP address, same as here. Got my port, the same. Start listening has got to be on, otherwise nothing will happen. Okay, so that's that. We can close this out. Okay, so it brings the message in. It will, to be honest, I'm not really sure why this is here, what it's for, but it's here. Convert string to OSC address. It just gets the address out of the message. I don't know, because for my mind, this could be part of this node, but it's not. Okay, this node here, bind event to an OSC address pattern matches path. Okay, so let's go back here a second. We saw that for this fader, I gave it this address, A/B. If we go back into Unreal, it's different. So this, zoom in here. This also has to be B. Okay, important to know is that as far as Unreal is concerned, this has to be like this. It has to be //something /something. I'm not sure if you can have /something and then more /. I think you can, but it has to be at least 2. So it has to be at least 2 /, and it could be anything. It could be, it doesn't matter. It's like, it could be shit, fuck, you know, as long as you've got that here as well, it's okay. I don't think it matters if it's numbers, letters. It's just a way of identifying messages. Okay. So it brings it in. It gets the information it needs over to here, and if everything matches, if this matches and this matches, then it will trigger the event here. So I'm just going to show that. Hopefully it's going to work. If I click play, I'm going to go back to my, bear with me 1 second, I have to go back to my on my telephone. Okay, so now on my telephone I'm moving the slider. So I've gone to that, I've gone to this IP address. This IP address here on my telephone in my browser, and now I'm moving this, and you can see when I move the fader, we're getting the message sent. So basically it's saying if this matches, then you're going to trigger an event from here. Okay, stop it. And the message it sends is, it's this message, right? So, okay, now comes, I don't know, maybe this is obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me. So I'm going to just run through this. If we're talking about nDisplay, then we're talking about, in my case anyway, we're talking about 2 PCs. Okay, so my node, my other PC, is also going to run this same project file, but nothing's going to happen. It's not going to do anything, because on that PC, it's going to say, does this IP address mean anything to me? And it doesn't mean anything to that computer because it's got a different IP address. So this wouldn't work in nDisplay because it would only trigger on this, on the node that's running on this PC, which is the master. So what you need to do is you need to copy this, paste it, let's just get it over here. Let's get it over here. Then we're going to hook this one up in here. On this one, I'm going to put my IP address of my node. Okay. So now if I run it and I do the fader, just 1 second, yeah. Okay, we see over here, we see it's sending the event. Over here, we're not seeing anything. And that makes sense because this IP address isn't this computer. So that's why there's nothing coming in here. But of course, if on the node, it's the opposite. On the node, when we're running nDisplay, this one is triggering and this one is doing nothing, because on the node, this doesn't mean anything to it. So that's why we need to have the setting twice. Maybe there's another way to do it, an easier way, but this is the only way that I kind of worked out or understood so far to do it. Okay, so if we had another node, a third PC, we'd need another set, I guess. Okay. So, yeah, one thing to mention is that this node here looks for this. Okay, there's another node, which is this one here, and this one doesn't care about this. So if you use this one, it doesn't care. Any message it receives, it'll pass through. So, yeah, but I've been using this one because I like the targeted messaging. Okay, so now we're almost done. We're getting the message in. We're triggering it. It's being triggered on as many nodes as you need to. And the other thing, which again may seem obvious, but to me wasn't obvious, so I'm going to explain it, is okay, well, first here we've got an array of floats coming in. We could also do get OSC message float index. Here we can just get directly the one. If it's a fader, there's only one float and it's on 0, so we'll get it straight out of here. This one is good if it's like an RGB or if it's an XY pad where you've got like an array. So then you pull it out and you do get ref, get ref, get ref, and then you put in your index of the, so that here you have X, Y, Z or RGB. Okay. So the part of it which was not obvious to me, which I'm going to show, is we're going to bring this over here. We're going to do the same thing. Let's just copy that one over here. I'm going to bring that one into there. Okay. And now we're going to add these together. Yeah, because basically what's happening is on this PC, when I'm running nDisplay, there's messages coming down here. There's nothing coming here. So it just goes in here, nothing gets added, and it goes out. So say you're sending a value of 5 on the fader. It's coming here. On your node PC, the message is coming down here. The 5 is coming down here. Nothing's coming along here. It's getting added to nothing, and it's coming out. So you need to do this. And if you had another node, you'd have to have another one and then add these together again. Yeah, to me that was not intuitive, but it's kind of obvious, I guess. Yeah. So if I run this, yeah, well, that's basically it. Yeah, there's just one more thing I want to show. So I'm going to go back to this, which I thought was pretty handy, pretty important. Let's just get rid of this for a second. Then do right click, add widget, contain a panel. Okay. Over here, right click, add tab. Right click, add tab, right click, add tab. Now you've got 3 tabs, okay? The first one we're going to do RGB. Second one, I'm going to do add a button. Third one, let's add a slider. So now this is how you get tabbed pages. So you can get a lot of stuff into your interface, and you can even do on this tab, say the third one, let's just delete this. Let's add a yeah. So here so you've got tabs in tabs, so you can get as complicated as you need to. It's pretty killer. I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, I'll hear from you guys if anything was not clear or I fucked up somewhere. Yeah, let me know. Good luck with it.